there's nothing wrong with it and it's been maintained. So when I got the roofer on the, and then I had to, the insurance agent wanted another roof report. I says, what are you talking about? I had the whole building inspected, including the roof a year ago. No. The insurance requires a roof report, I guess, going forward every year. Well, you can imagine I boiled. So I had to get the roofer on the phone. And I said, this is something, well, they're used to it. So I says, I guess there's going to be no more roofing contracts in the future because you're going to have to redo the roofs. And he kind of laughed, and that looks like that's the way it's going. So if you were to ask me what do I think about this, it's ridiculous. But, you know, if the insurance is mandated and the board is stuck, and then add the reserve, yes, yeah, you're looking at me like I'm nuts.
No, how old is the roof?
Probably some of it's 40 years, some of it's 30 years, some of it's 15 years. There was a hurricane, some of it had been replaced with the hurricane. But is the condition of the roof matter, or does the age matter? So according to insurance, the age matters, not the condition of the roof. So I don't know, because I don't know. Will a re-roof, and I don't know how old your roofs are, is that in our future? And when I did the reserves every year, because the roof has always been maintained, and it says in the contract you should never need a new roof. It says right in the contract, right? Because it's maintained, right? Common sense. So if the insurance is going to dictate the contract, and then the professional who's going to do the reserve study says, well, you know, the roof is 30 years old, 20 years old, the insurance, guess what? Any questions?
What does that mean?
Your maintenance is going up to fund a reserve you don't really need, but I can't fix it. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do
What's the time frame of that?
whoever decides it.
No, I know, but I'm saying, is this in talks now?
No, I'm giving you information. All this is information from what I just had to deal with quite angrily.
Right.
And I was not happy about it. As a matter of fact, when I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's when the agent got the email from me. And she says, you don't get upset about it, you know, because I was upset about it, because it's not fair, it's not right, but
Right.
I have no control over it. You see, I don't have control over a lot of things that people think I have control over.
Okay, but, okay, so in talks and everything, but when is it like?
Stand up so everybody can hear you.
If this is mandatory, okay, they make it mandatory, okay, and it's going to be something that's going to happen, when does that happen?
So I already told you, after December 31st, 2024, the new reserve study will be done by a professional. So they get paid to come out and they look at what reserves we'll use River Shores has. So in more than my opinion, any of the reserves I've done have more than covered, more than adequately what was needed. And in the past, and I brought this up because I am a broken record, you know, like for instance, we had the building painted. That was taken out of operating funds. In most normal condos, it would be taken out of reserves. I've had the elevators repaired, the cabs out of operating. There was a lot taken out of operating, which under normal condominiums, they would have to be taken out of reserves if they had, or specially assessed. So,
I'm just looking at time frame.
yeah, well, it's nothing, it's like the insurance. How could I budget for it when it's a political upheaval? And they're working on it. So you know what the legislature's working on? You know what that means? We're screwed.
Right.
But now you have that information.
I would just need to know.
And again, it's all my opinion, but it's based on living it. So the facts are there, so I can't change what is. So you know what the future is like.
So the insurance going up to 605, whatever we're going to estimate, is that partially because of our roof? Is that because of the roof
I am not the one setting the rates.
Right.
The agent said to me, well, the roof is old. The insurance companies like 15 years and newer. So the contract was supplied, the roof report was, yeah, the inspection, thank you, yeah. So insurance, you have to understand, has guidelines they have to follow. But it's always about, right, so guidelines, yeah. So all those years there were no hurricanes, where did the premiums go? They're supposed to have something in reserve, but, you know, can we fix that? No.
I'm wondering, I guess, if, so it's high, it's going up now because of the state of the roof. If the roof was.
But I don't know, if it's 15 years old, let's say it's 10 years old.
Okay.
I don't know how much of the premium, would they need another excuse like, well, we want a pink roof rather than a gray roof because that's what our statistic, or, you know, our guidelines, thank you, guidelines need to say. You know, insurance is a no, you know, whether it's your car, whatever, it's a lose-lose situation. River Shores is being canceled. Well, we were canceled by the liability carrier, which we had for years, and we're canceled for the D&O carrier. So
What is our current carrier?
I don't even know, but it was, I don't know, like a year ago for the liability, and then we had to find a different carrier. So when you start finding different carriers, and then, you know, in the mix of insurance, you have to remember lawyers are involved, fraud is involved, we all pay for that. It's the same thing like with your car insurance, you know. When everybody's involved, you know, everybody's got to get a piece. Rob?
You know, Rob again, River Shores. I know at one time you said you considered being self-insured. Is that any possibility?
Well, and again, I'm remembering this off the top of my head. I think the buildings for River Shores are worth $28 million. So you can only imagine what that assessment would be. How would you self-insure? Again, the way, as I explained,
You mean liability would be 28?
no, the potential for property, the value of the buildings are $28 million. So you're in, I'm doing that off, I don't remember exactly what the number, but we'll say $28 million for the buildings. So, wait a second. So if that's the value of the buildings, in order to insure, like if you have a mortgage, the mortgage companies need 100% replacement cost. So you see, there's so many that nobody understands all this.
Okay.
So would you be willing for a $28 million assessment? That would really supersede River Terrace's assessment. See, I had to get that shot in. Did you notice it?
I noticed, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I
Yeah.
gotta run. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for
Yes.
showing up.
Yes.
So, do you understand? So my point is with sending, you know, those long Tony emails that, God, I wish Tony would get a writing lesson how to write things better. I had said if they stop mandating the insurance, because remember, the board has the fiduciary duty to obtain the insurance, because if they don't, they can personally be held liable. If they stop mandating the insurance, guess what? Those prices would come down because that building ain't going nowhere. So that would be common sense. But how does that help attorneys? How does that help, you know, insurance companies? It doesn't help them. It only hurts them. So we have to be cognizant of their well-being. Did you follow that? Did you like it? Did you like the answer?
No, I don't.
Okay, good. But then that's a good thing to segue to. The fact that we don't like it is not important. It's only what we must do. There you go.
Do you have, did I hear you mention directors and officers insurance when you're talking about
Correct.
directors' liability?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm sure that's not cheap either.
I think for River Shores it's like $7,000 or something, so it's not outrageous. But that's for River Shores. I don't know what Riverbend
And
pays.
the other thing you might point out is that insurance companies are fleeing Florida.
I just read an article, some are coming in.
Well, yeah.
So the issue is, will they go bankrupt? Another thing I have to look into with the insurance is, are they guaranteed, and I forgot what the exact term is, are they guaranteed under Florida's guarantee fund? Because some are not admitted carriers. I have to think of all this. Are they admitted carriers to supply insurance, which means Florida will back them up to some extent. Some are not per se admitted carriers. They can write policies, but they are not backed up by the Florida Guarantee Fund nonsense. So, any other questions? Because I have a written question, so we can get. Yes, Pat. Pat's from River Shores.
Pat Costantini, Bristol River Shores.
Yeah.
Tony, I was wondering if they're going to be doing anything with updating the laundry rooms. For the past few months, we've had nothing but washing machines leaking over the floors, doors off the dryer just sitting there.
Well, wait a minute. Okay. Let me address each thing. So I can't guarantee this, but when there's water on the floor from a washing machine, potentially somebody overloaded it.
No.
No. Okay. So then there could be a leak. It needs to be fixed.
And
As
it's
far
been
as
away
the
for months.
dryer being broken, we ordered a new one. It'll come whenever. But somebody ripped the door off, and I sent an email about that. When you destroy, break, whatever, the property, you know, it is what it is. So you're going to be getting a brand new dryer. Hopefully that will make some unhappy person happy. But it's been ordered. It's not here yet. Oh, and when things are ordered like that, they're not necessarily coming a day or two. I think we're looking at several months. So Steve is going to get rid of that dryer. I guess he's slowly throwing it in a dumpster. I don't know what he's doing with it. And it is what it is.
And also in the hallways, I noticed in the first floor, I don't remember the last time anything was washed down over there, and it's really starting to look.
So the floor, well, in one particular apartment, I haven't figured out how it could get that dirty. I mean, it's been repainted. It's just one particular apartment seems to be amazingly black in front of the door. So I don't know how, because that floor was just redone a year and a half, 2 years. I don't even think it's 2 years. Do you remember, Helen, when I had that done? It's 2 years. So for the floor to get that, I don't know that we can, again, fix that. So, but I will let Steve know.
In the hallway in general, which is.
Okay, I will let Steve and Basil know.
Here's a nice washing down.
Floor,
Yes.
ground, Steve and Basil. No problem.
And Helen, I just wanted to mention that, I think it was Helen that put all the flowers in by the walkway. They were
Yes,
very
thank
nice.
you.
Well,
Thank you.
Actually, Charlie went ahead and asked Steve to put those because we had a problem with the white fly. It killed our other ones. And Steve's gonna get more plants in there.
It looks nice stuff, and
Yeah, that makes a difference. Just like all the stuff that we've been doing in the meadow too. And Maria's been very good about bringing plants. She brings plants to Charlie and Charlie puts them in the meadow, so.
I'm glad to hear that we're gonna get some new washing machines or dryers or whatever, because they're really in bad need of it. I know one of the machines has been leaking now for, I would say, at least 4 or 5 months.
So Steve is really on that. So we had a conversation about the washing machines, and Steve was brought into it because he knows how to fix them. So a new board can go ahead and buy all new machines, but according to Steve, they're made in China and not as good. So we have an issue. Yeah, they're old. And oh, by the way, Pat, I could tell you, I think it was when Jim Cook was on the board and I was on the board, we had bought all brand new Maytags, and they lasted for a number of years. It was one shot, I think it was 18 machines, and it was great. But that was 20 years ago. I think we finally got rid of the last Maytag not too many years ago. So, but there's only whirlpools, I guess, now. Again, I'm not a washing machine expert. You could discuss it with Steve, but his recommendation is, as soon as you get one of those new machines, they're gonna break because they're not well made. They may be said for commercial. Oh, you're shaking your head. Do you know? Do you have problems in River Terrace and River Bend?
I like the older machines.
He answered it, and he's from River. It's not about old versus new. It's about,
Fixability parts.
yeah. And then you have to remember, Steve is here now, so it may be wise to keep them. And when he decides to retire, then what will the board decide to do is that board's decision. So you heard it from River Terrace rep, what he prefers, not from Tony. Go ahead. Again, I don't, it's nothing personal. Stand. You,
Oh.
Rob.
Thank you. Rob from River Terrace, Devon.
River Terrace?
I'm sorry. River-
Oh, that was a Freudian slip. I want everybody to notice. Listen, folks, when you get this video, notice he did a Freudian slip. Go ahead.
There was nothing Freudian about it. I'm just getting tired sitting over here. Quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned it yourself about Steve and retirement. I understand. And by the way, Steve and Basil are fantastic. I have nothing but good things to say about them.
Right.
But I understand, and maybe I'm incorrect, but I understand that Steve is down to just 4 days a week now. Is that true?
That is true.
So we're 1 day less of somebody being here to take care of things than they were before. Is there a way of addressing that?
Well, it is addressed. He squeezes it in 4 days. He wants to have a day off. And by the way, the manager of River Shores, was not thrilled about that. And the board said that's what he wants. So, but you know what? He manages it in the 4 days. So, again, I could suggest this, and it's my opinion. Some people can do in a day what other people can't do in 5 days. So I have a feeling we're going to find that out soon enough with other issues at River Shores and the community. So I would rather have Steve here, my opinion again, have him here 4 days, and he can manage and well. As a matter of fact, he was not feeling well yesterday, and I said, Steve, again, in a sense, I don't have the authority, but I don't want Steve sick. He was sick. And I said, finish up what you got to do and go home. Having him miserable here doesn't solve anybody's problem, you see. So I hope that answers your question, and it gives you something to think about.
Well, no, I'm well aware of that, and I'm going to repeat, I think Steve is fantastic. So
Right.
is Basil. It's not a criticism. It was just.
I didn't take it. No, I don't think anybody took it that way. It's just, the question is, some people can do things in a day where it takes others 5 and they're still struggling, but we'll find that out soon enough. Yes, stand up, say who you are.
Greg from River Terrace.
Good.
What are Steve's days that he works?
Tuesday through Friday.
Tuesday. Thank you.
Okay. So, to be fair, because I love to be fair, not everybody around here likes that, but Mr., what is his name? Vinny Zaccarino from your building, whatever his name is, he loves to come up when we're having board meetings and nicely threaten me, or us, whatever. So he decided he could not come here, which is his right. So he dropped this thing off, so I want to be fair and read it. It says, looking for solutions rather than settling scores. Attend the community meeting on February 18th at 4 p.m. I hope you'll all be there. I'm going to plan on it. Members from all 3 associations will be represented. There will be no management. If you'd like to join our mailing list, please send your email address to riverterraceoaklandpark@gmail.com. So does everybody have that? riverterraceoaklandpark@gmail.com. So if you want to join that group,